This time of year is when family and friends come together to celebrate the love we have for one another. But when someone we care about is suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, how do you create a safe space for them to share in the joy? Eric sat down with the Alzheimer's Foundation of America to find out.
We're sitting down with Chris Schneider, the Director of Media Relations with the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. And with Thanksgiving being upon us now, frankly, it's really, really important to think about the family members who may be battling this disease. So, Chris, first things first, what should we be keeping in mind if a family member is suffering from Alzheimer's and we want them to take part in our Thanksgiving festivity with other friends and family?
Well, you need to keep in mind that you want them to do that. It's important that individuals living with dementia are able to celebrate the holiday and enjoy the festivities and celebrate that coming together with family and friends. But it's also important for the caregiver to know that there are steps they should take to make that transition as smooth as possible, because dementia does impact the brain. It does impact the way that individuals are able to celebrate. They may not be able to do everything as they once did prior to the onset of their illness. And that's where it comes to the caregiver to be proactive, prepared, and take a few simple steps to make that celebration dementia friendly.
Now, Chris, can you tell us a little bit about these steps that can be taken?
Absolutely. And they really just require a little bit of planning, and it goes a long way. So one of the most important things that caregivers can do is schedule the celebration early and around the person's routine. So routine disruptions can be challenging for somebody living with dementia. So to the greatest extent possible, you want to try and incorporate their daily routine into the celebration. If they normally take a walk at 11 o'clock in the morning every day, build in time for that walk. If they normally watch a certain TV show at 1 o'clock, build in time for that. And schedule the celebration earlier in the day, because individuals living with dementia can be prone to what's called sundowning, which as day turns to night, they may experience agitation, they may experience some confusion. So holding the celebration earlier in the day will help offset some of those potential impacts.
Gotcha. Now, with Thanksgiving being a time where people from all walks of life come together, whether that's for a family event or with friends, it can be difficult because if you invite someone with dementia, you want them to take part like everyone else. You don't want them to feel isolated, especially during this time of year. What's a good way, as caregivers, it seems like following their routine, having a set plan is the best course of action. But what should we as caregivers do to the other guests who are going to be there? How should we kind of approach this conversation?
It's a great question. So one of the things you want to do as a caregiver with your other guests is prepare them in advance as to what your loved one responds well to, and also what they don't respond well to, because that can help facilitate positive interactions. And that's really important if you have guests coming in from out of town who maybe haven't seen your loved one in a while, because dementia changes throughout the course of the illness. Certain things that may not have been problematic earlier on may be problematic now. And it's important to remember also, focus on what your loved one can do now and still enjoys doing now, not what they're not able to do anymore. So, and that can include things like, when you want to keep them involved, if they enjoyed cooking before and maybe they're not able to cook like they once were able to, but you can still invite them in to maybe help prepare a dish or maybe help set the table. Or if they really enjoy decorating, find some small things that they're able to decorate. Again, things that they're able to do now and still enjoy doing. And that involves them in the celebration, that involves them with the other guests. But you also want to have a quiet space available, that if it becomes too overwhelming or the person is getting overwhelmed or stressed or anxious, that they have a quiet space that they can go retreat to. And in that quiet space, have some familiar comfort items, whether it's a favorite blanket or a favorite sweater, maybe have some familiar music that they respond well to give them that time away if it becomes too much having a house full of people.
That is so crucial, and these little changes can make all the difference. Especially, I recently lost a grandfather who the last 10 years of his life was suffering with dementia and Alzheimer's, and there's no amount of work I can say I would have done to have one more Thanksgiving with Paw. So I know the folks out there are very appreciative of your insight on this one, Chris. So where can someone go to get more tips like this and more information on how to really cater to those in our lives that are going through this hardship so that we can keep them a part of the holiday season?
So you can reach out to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America. We have a helpline that is staffed entirely by licensed social workers who are specifically trained in dementia care, and they can answer questions about this and a whole host of other topics relating to Alzheimer's disease, dementia, or brain health or caregiving. And that number is 866-232-8484. You can also get information and web chat with the social workers on our website at alzfdn.org. But one thing you brought up, which I'm really glad you did, is no one can go through this alone as a caregiver. And it's important that you have a support system. It's important that you accept help and that you ask for help. And especially during the holiday season, the holidays can be stressful for anybody during this time of year. And now you add on the stresses of caring for somebody with Alzheimer's disease. Make sure as you're getting these celebrations ready that you ask for help and you develop a plan for help, because you'll have people in your life who want to help, but maybe they don't know how. Be specific and tell them, hey, can you bring a side dish? Can you come and watch Dad for a couple hours while I go to the grocery store? Can you help me decorate? There are ways that people want to give back and lend you a helping hand. Be specific and don't be shy about it.
That's so important, to always ask for help when you need it. Chris Schneider with the Alzheimer's Foundation of America, giving us these fantastic tips to make our Thanksgiving festivities a little bit more dementia and Alzheimer's friendly. We're going to make sure all the information that you need, links to connect with the foundation, to reach out to Chris if you have any additional questions, everything's going to be available on our website, 9and10news.com, after the show today. Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.